If you are a new or an aspiring founder of your small business and have no time to waste or really struggle to do your social media marketing, you will enjoy our Creating Reorganized show. In my day job as a psychology professor, I teach my bachelor and master students in real life how to reorganize processes in a goal-directed and future-proof way in companies. And that's what I have done for a living as a former IT strategy consultant. For my own career coaching business on the side, I can only dedicate a fraction of my time because, I prioritize care work for my little children. I face the same or similar challenges like all small business owners. So I applied all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing and to boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and affiliate products or services. I strategically capitalize on professional tools to scale my impact according to my vision of life. Listen and subscribe to this Creating Reorganized show so you will learn to do the same for your own business, to build the know, like, and trust factor, and to boost sales of your services or products. Please also ask your business-specific questions because for the next seasons, I envision interview episodes with aspiring and new founders like you if you want to get your Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life. As in every episode, at the end, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept point of view. So stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor and master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even already recognize my arguments. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now welcome to our show, Creating Reorganized. Whether you are a coach or a consultant, an e-commerce store owner, an educator, or even running a vacation business like a ski hotel or a gift shop with seasonal deals, this episode will give you a clear roadmap to monetizing your video podcast. We will also talk about powerful tools like ActiveCampaign for email optimization, Shopify for product sales, Thinkific for online courses, Typeform for lead magnets, and Metricool for scheduling your social media content. We will also talk about how you can video podcast to showcase your products or services in a brain-friendly way, using Descript and Podbean to cater neurodiverse needs of your leads. And I have been a power user for all of these tools and later became an affiliate partner. I really love them, and I shout them out without any hesitation. I'm not gatekeeping, so I really want you, dear Creating Reorganizer, to win like me. If at any point you're thinking, I need a deep dive on it, just drop the name of the tool like ActiveCampaign, Thinkific, Typeform, Metricool, Descript, and Podbean, and I will plan a follow-up episode. I am so honored to be celebrated. It was like a love shower for me in Podbean's new in-house podcast show called Podbean Amplified, where I was selected to be the first in their inaugural season, episode 1. Honestly, I did not see that coming. I'm really happy about that. Thank you, Podbean. But now back to you, dear Creating Reorganizer. We will break it all down step by step as usual. Number 1, understanding what a sales funnel is and how it works for video podcasts. Number 2, mapping your listener's journey from casual audience member to paying customer. Number 3, content strategies and tool recommendations, practical examples, and actionable steps to set up your own video podcast sales funnel. Number 4, a psychological model, theory, or concept that underlines why you need a sales funnel for your business. And please stay tuned until the end of this episode because I have a gift for you. As you know, I'm a professor and I also have student consulting projects. I truly believe in the quality of my students' output, and hence I will announce a gift at the end of this episode. So stay tuned. By the end of this episode, you will have the knowledge and tools to transform your video podcast into a dynamic sales machine that even works for you when you are on holiday or just living your life. Part 1. What is a sales funnel and why does it matter? Well, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a sales funnel? A sales funnel is the journey your potential customers take, starting from becoming aware of your brand to ultimately making a purchase. It's shaped like a funnel because not everyone who enters will make it to the end. So the AIDA model is a classic framework that aligns perfectly with video podcast sales funnels. A, like awareness, getting listeners to discover your video podcasts. I, like interest, capturing their curiosity and keeping them engaged. D, like desire, building an emotional connection that makes them want what you're offering. So you need to know your target audience. And A, action, converting them to paying customers. Okay, so they need to know why they want to have your solution. If they have no pain point, then it's not realistic to make money with them. Your video podcast is unique because you are naturally building a personal connection with your leads and clients, which makes a video podcast the perfect medium for nurturing listeners through each stage of this funnel. Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. I want to share with you my best marketing agent. Serving my underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved audience, leads and clients is key for me as an Asian working mom, business owner, and professor in Germany. But I can't be marketing and selling all the time, and I have to be mindful with my own resources. So I chose Podbean as my podcasting host and monetizing provider. I'm on the Unlimited Plus plan for our Postdoc Transformation show and Creating Reorganized show. With Podbean, your audience can inclusively listen and watch your podcast according to their visual and auditive needs. You can also embed your customized podcast player on your external website or use one of the beautiful website templates. You can easily share your podcast on all major podcasting directories, which allow you to reach a huge audience on their favorite devices in their countries. Podbean also has an ads marketplace, and you can easily attract and manage sponsors for dynamic ads, which are played out depending on your audience criteria. This way, you can serve your audience for free. Some of them become your clients eventually, but your advertising sponsors independently support you financially in each episode. You will see insightful stats per demographic and which episodes attracted most listeners, so you can tailor your future episodes for your leads and clients and present suitable external ads. If you want to try out Podbean for your own podcasting, DM or email me Podbean so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Podbean link. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode. So, to be clear why it matters, without a sales funnel, your video podcast might entertain and inform, but it won't convert. And that can be a nice hobby, but obviously it eats up your time and financial resources, to be honest. You can use free software as a starter point, but to use that as a professional marketing arm for your business, you need to have professional tools. And that means you have to also invest in that. So you better make sure that it really converts at the end of the day for your business. A structured sales funnel ensures that every episode nudges listeners closer to a buying decision. Here's your actionable prompt. Sketch out a basic sales funnel for your video podcast and identify one goal for each stage. For awareness, how will you attract new listeners? Interest, what will keep them coming back? Desire, how can you highlight the value of your product or service? And action, last but not least, what clear step will you encourage them to take? Just come back listening is not enough. They have to also buy from you something that you can use finance the next episode, so to speak. And this marketing model is only the appetizer, like I said. I will dovetail the elaboration likelihood model, which is a psychological model, with the sales funnel steps at the end of this episode. Part 2, mapping the listener's journey. To create an effective sales funnel, you need to understand your listener's journey. Let's break it down into 3 key phases. Number 1, top of the funnel. That's awareness. At this stage, your goal is to attract as many potential listeners as possible. Focus on topics that, address common pain points or interests, aspirations within your niche. For example, If you're selling eco-friendly home products, create episodes like this: 5 surprising ways to reduce waste at home. The hidden costs of fast consumerism. These topics appeal to a broad audience interested in sustainability. Number 2, the middle of the funnel. Nurturing interest. Once listeners tune in, you can nurture their curiosity by sharing valuable insights, personal stories, behind the scenes, and solutions that build trust and authority. Do not hold back, okay? This is your first chance to be of value for them. So give them free value freely, right? That builds trust and authority. For example, in the eco-friendly products niche, you can discuss how I source sustainable materials for my products, the journey of building a green business from scratch. To be honest, when you're listening back to this, you can also think of this way you can already qualify your listeners by providing free value, ideally having the supply chain of you and the other companies in mind. That means your suppliers could be mentioned in your free value already, which makes them happy, which serves you well, because at the end of the day, with this free value, your listeners get the impression that you know what you're talking about because you have the whole supply chain in mind. And then we go to the bottom of the funnel. So we've been at the top, in the middle, and now at the bottom of the funnel, and that is where the conversion happens. This is where you have the major attention on. Here's where you shift focus to turning engaged listeners into buyers. You can highlight your offerings and explain how they solve a problem or enhance their life. For example, behind the scenes, how we make our best-selling reusable kitchen towels. And if you want more about behind the scenes storytelling, I kind of remind you on the previous episode on storytelling from behind the scenes, as linked in the show notes. Another example could be why investing in eco-friendly products saves you money over time. By mentioning money, it's also setting up the business perspective. Here's your actionable prompt. Map one episode idea to each stage of the funnel. Write down a call to action for each episode, such as download our free sustainability checklist or check out our limited product bundle, something like that. And now part 3, converting content that converts. Okay, so now that we have mapped out the listener's journey, let's talk about how to create content that really drives conversions. So here's step 1, attracting leads. Why a sales funnel starts with value. Before we can make any sales, we need leads. That is people who are genuinely interested in what you offer. And the best way is a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a free high-value offer that your listeners can access in exchange for their email. Together with my students, I have prepared a lead magnet that you cannot resist. If you are one of the very first listeners of the Creating Reorganized show, we want to give you something that we will disclose at the end of this episode, so stay tuned. A lead magnet works because it provides immediate value while also creating a relationship with your audience. Imagine this. Someone hears your video podcast, loves your content, and now they get something even more valuable for free. That really builds trust. So, for example, if you are a business coach, this could be a 5-step business growth map. Or if you are an e-commerce store, you could say a 10% off coupon for first-time buyers. Or if you're an educator, you can offer a free mini course like I do. If you are running a ski hotel, maybe a winter travel checklist could be a great freebie. Now you can think, does that work? People are bombarded with ads daily and they are hesitant to buy right away. So a lead magnet gives them something useful and builds a relationship before you even ask for a sale. And you can easily create these in type form. Think interactive quizzes, downloadable guides, or self-assessments. All of these I have already utilized for my Poster Transformation show, and you will find a link to that in today's episode. And now you're thinking, how can you direct your listeners to capitalize on your lead magnet? Well, that's easy. You can have a call to action. Head over to www.website blah, blah, blah to grab your freebie as linked in the show notes. enter your email address in the form as linked in the show notes. If you now want a deep dive on lead magnets, for example, how I use Typeform to create these kinds of lead magnets, just type in Typeforms in the comments and I'll know what to do. Before going back to our episode, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. I want to share with you my time and energy saver. As a professor for industrial and occupational psychology, I also teach about the future of work, and as a former IT strategy consultant, of course, I embrace AI to be a future-proof podcast producer of the Postdoc Transformation Show and the Creating Reorganized show. Descript is the video and audio podcast editing tool of my choice. I pay for their creator plan, and it's worth every dollar. Descript comes with an integrated professional remote recording studio for the best audio quality for your guests and you. For example, I record an hour interview with a guest or a solo, and instead of painstakingly doing a rough cut and deleting all the ums and ahs and filler words and rambling around, which I did for hours, I now click on Descript's AI, editing for clarity, and my rough cut is done in seconds or a minute. For fine-tuning, I edit text instead of audio waves, and I just insert all my pre-recorded music, intro, ads, and outro, like this one, in a matter of minutes. I can then easily export closed captions, fine-tune AI-driven summaries, chapter markers, and titles, which I feed into my show notes and podcast host. Descript even suggests the best clips for social media, and their video editor automatically includes the synchronized speakers' cameras and audio captions. I can also include stock graphics or pre-recorded videos. You can find our short-form examples on our Instagram and TikTok at Postdoc Transformation. If you want to try out Descript for your own podcast editing, DM or email me, Descript, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Descript link. After this short salute to our sponsors, we now return to our inspiring episode. Step 2, nurturing your leads. Email marketing automation. I love automation. I have been an IT strategy consultant. I don't want to do manually everything. I gladly test manually, but as soon as I have enough data to see that this is worth automizing, I will do that, of course. So now that people have signed up, you don't want to just send them a single email and disappear. And this is where Active Campaign enters the stage. For starters, what is email nurturing? Think of it like dating. No one proposes on the first date, right? That really is awkward. So you need to warm up the relationship over time. And email nurturing is key because most people don't buy immediately. They need to know, like, and trust you first. And that's why we send follow-up emails to keep them engaged. Campaign has templates you can use and customize for your business. So you need to have a welcome email. Thanks for signing up. Here's your freebie. You can have value-driven emails, share helpful tips, a podcast episode, or a personal story. Introduce your products and services gradually. I personally love segmentation. If someone clicks a link about A or B or whatever, then automatically that person gets a tag as interested in A, B, or C, or whatever. So I can follow up later as I like. I can segment a group that gets only emails regarding A versus another group that gets emails for B. Here's a real life example. I have a free email course with 10 emails that are really value packed. And whoever goes through the whole sequence usually picks up the email and sends that to the graduate school. So I can then start a conversation of how to get into the program so that I can offer my e-courses or even in-person workshops. So that 10 email sequence is really important to the listener to get to know me, to trust enough that I would make a good career transition coach at their university. So again, why it works? An email sequence helps build relationships and guides potential customers through the decision-making process without overwhelming them. If you want a full tutorial on Active Campaign automations, let me know. I will gladly do that for you. All right, step number 3. Now you want to convert leads into customers. Your subscribers are now engaged. Great. Now it's time to make an offer. So for starters, why now? At this stage, your audience has built trust with you, making them far more likely to say yes. They are warmed up. If you sell products on Shopify, you can now automate abandoned cart, recovery emails. For example, if you are selling products on Shopify, they want to check out, but then get distracted or something like that. But you can set up and automate abandoned cart recovery emails to bring back lost sales. Or if you are running an e-course on Thinkific, you can send early bird discounts or invite them to a live Q&A webinar. So this way, you can tie your connection with them even closer. If you have a seasonal gift shop, you can offer a holiday gift guide to highlight your best products. And again, why does it work? Making an offer at the right time, when they're ready to buy because they have grown to know you, to like you, to trust you, with the right incentive helps reduce hesitation and boosts conversions. So step number 4, that is upselling, cross-selling, and customer retention. So upselling means offering a premium package or a VIP version of your product. For example, if someone buys a basic online course, you can offer them a one-on-one coaching upgrade, provided that you have time, of course. Or for cross-selling, you can suggest complementary products. For example, a customer who buys ski gloves, offer them a matching winter scarf from your other suppliers. That makes the other suppliers also happy, right? You are thinking from a supply chain perspective. That is always serving you in the long run. Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. I want to share with you my #1 lead generator, and you can start that even without a podcast. It's Typeform, and I use them to create free quizzes with open questions and multiple choice answers. I also predefine mandatory answers so I can qualify and score leads, collect their email addresses for later nurturing. I can brand my quizzes, for example, my Check Your Readiness to Leap Out of Science quiz, with my audio and video files. So this way I can share specific podcast episodes or other information based on their answers, and then automatically send them an email after submitting the quiz. I even included a calendar invite for those leads who qualify specifically. So now I can help everyone on the surface for free and divert my valuable time only to my high-ticket leads on a deep level. I collect all the data automatically after my initial setup, as I have also integrated it with my remaining tech stack. If you want to try out Typeform for your own lead generation and qualification, DM or email me Typeform so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become the customer using my Typeform link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode. About retention. Well, you need to keep customers engaged with valuable content, follow-ups, and personalized offers. Why? Well, it's easier to make a happy customer even more happy. They already fit to you. They are already your ideal customer, right? They have already bought what you are offering and serving and producing. So keep them engaged. You can also offer them something new later down the road on your value ladder. Essentially, this is also what I'm doing with my ideal client avatar from the Postdoc Transformation Show. Some of them will come to the point in their life that they think they can also found their own business. They can also start up their own company. And that's when my Creating Reorganized show will be helpful. Until then, I am nurturing. Of course, I'm nurturing. None of the scientists who are currently doing their PhD, thinking of how to get employed in business, are thinking of starting their own companies. That's a little far-fetched, but I'm nurturing them in the Postdoc Transformation Show, and some of them will also find value in my Creating Reorganized show. That can be a different target group altogether, but I'm already nurturing them ideally from the Postdoc Transformation Show. Now, here's my favorite part, number 4, dovetailing a psychological model, theory, or concept for you. And ta-da! I chose the elaboration likelihood model to explain why you need a sales funnel for your business. That explains how people process persuasive messages and make decisions. It was developed by Richard Petty and John Cacioppo in the late 19th. The model suggests that there are two main ways people process information when they encounter persuasive messages. Number one, the central route. The central route involves deep and thoughtful processing of the message. When people are motivated and have the ability to focus on the details, they carefully evaluate the information presented. This route requires the audience to think critically about the arguments, evidence, and reasoning behind the message. And the decision-making process in this route is more deliberate and informed. I think that you can see from my gesture and also from my facial expression that it is a little bit far-fetched. But to make this possible, here are some key factors you have to consider. And you need to have a highly motivated audience. The person who wants to buy needs to care about the topic or the decision they are making. They also have to have the highest ability possible. The person has to have cognitive resources to understand and the mental focus to analyze the message deeply. Ideally, people persuaded via the central route make decisions that are more enduring and resistant to change, as they have actively processed and also evaluated the content. Like I say, that's ideal, but to be honest, you probably have already felt through how I talked about it that I think that is very unlikely, okay? It's more probable that your listeners will go the peripheral route, okay? So what is the peripheral route? Well, it's in the periphery, so not central. It involves superficial processing of the message, okay? So people here are more influenced by external cues such as the attractiveness of the speaker, their trustworthiness, the emotional appeal, rather than the strength or quality of the arguments themselves. And this route occurs when the person is less motivated or lacks the ability to engage with the content in a deep way. Okay? Interested, but only superficially. So here are the key factors to consider in your video podcast. People are lowly motivated, not highly invested in the message or the decision at hand, not the key decision maker, maybe not yet there, doesn't know why, too early, too late, and maybe has a low ability. So the listener could be distracted, overwhelmed, or simply uninterested in analyzing the message deeply. When I'm thinking about myself, how I process video podcasts, then obviously, also, I do other things at the same time. I listen to a video podcast while I am driving my car, while I'm waiting for my kids. And obviously, when something else happens, I stop right away because it's not my top priority. I'm not listening to a video podcast because I'm studying, even though I have set up my video podcast, both the Poster Transformation Show and also the Creating Reorganized show, in a sense that you can have actionable prompts and then you can jot down your notes. I'm fully aware that this is not happening in most of the cases because you are human, because you haven't paid for this video podcast, so you're not invested. You are taking your time, but time is also easily preoccupied by other things. So as soon as people have paid for, then obviously the engagement is higher, and that means it's the central route. But for a video podcast, we're talking about the peripheral route here. So the outcome is people persuaded via the peripheral route tend to make more temporary, less stable decisions, which can be easily influenced by subsequent persuasive messages. And this is where the beauty is for you as a business owner. The sales funnel is a process that leads potential customers through stages from awareness to consideration and ultimately to purchase.
Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. If you want a relatively passive income, creating a paid e-course as your service is a great option. Especially if you are like me, an experienced teacher in higher education and now want to share even more knowledge and create a paid membership with live group meetings beyond the e-course. Offering an e-course is a no-brainer, and Thinkific is an AI-infused learning management system which is a dream for every educator. After setting up an e-course and our membership, you also need to market and sell your e-course, and that's when lead generation with Typeform and podcasting via Descript and Podbean can complement you well. If you want to try out Thinkific for creating your own e-course and membership, DM or email me Thinkific so I can share my experience or consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Thinkific link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode.
So the two routes, the central and the peripheral route of the elaboration likelihood model, play an important role in shaping how potential customers engage with your funnel in different stages. Here's how the elaboration likelihood model maps to the 4 steps of a sales funnel. Step number 1, awareness, top of the funnel. So which one now is the route engaged? It's the peripheral route. In this early stage, potential customers are just becoming aware of your product or service. They might not yet be highly invested or motivated to dive deeply into the details. Instead, they're more likely to browse, doom scroll on social media, and then they think, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I'll click on it or not. Maybe I'll listen to that or not on my podcast player. So they are more likely to be influenced by external cues such as a catchy headline, attractive visuals, a strong emotional appeal. So fear of missing out, urgency. You have to include that also in your communication. Lead magnets, free content, or social media ads are a good example for how the peripheral route works here. The goal is to capture attention and spark interest through simple, emotionally engaging content that encourages people to move to the next step. And think of eye-catching visuals, influencer endorsements, or limited time offers that make people want to learn more. I don't have the illusion that when I share my social media clips on social media that I can share content like this. I'm not explaining a psychological concept, model, or theory on social media. But if you have paid closer attention to what I have put out for social media clips, it's always the more superficial content that is catching the attention, but is not going in depth. If people want to know more, then I can serve them that deep knowledge in the video podcast. And still I know that they're not sitting there and jotting down notes. I hope so, but they're not. All right, so step 2, it's the interest, and that's the middle of the funnel. Guess now which one is the route engaged. Again, it's still the peripheral route, but with some movement toward the central route. Here's the explanation why. In the middle of the funnel, people are beginning to express interest in what you're offering, and they may start to consider how it fits their needs, their pain points. Here, they still may be influenced by external cues, such as reviews, social proof, but they also begin engaging more seriously with your content. At this stage, people are likely to weigh in the perceived trustworthiness of your brand and consider how your product may impact their lives for the better. So here's your goal. You need to deepen their interest by providing testimonial videos, case studies, or webinars that both appeal to their emotions through social proof and begin engaging their logic. When they think of your product, this is where emotion and trust come into play alongside more substantive information. Consideration, that's the bottom of the funnel. And guess what? The route engaged is now. Yes, it can only be the central route. The explanation of why. Now, potential customers are seriously considering your product or service. Okay, so they are motivated to weigh the pros and cons, to evaluate pricing and decide if it will truly meet their needs. At this point, they're engaging in critical thinking. They are about to put money on the table, so they really want to know whether their return on invest is valuable for them or not. So your content needs to be more detailed and logically sound. It needs to provide in-depth arguments about the value and benefits of your product. What they will end up with if they are not buying with you. Comparison charts or frequently asked questions are examples of how to engage the central route. So the goal is to move the audience toward a purchase decision by providing high-quality, thoughtful content, in-depth explanations, data-backed claims that addresses objections, builds trust, and clarifies any doubts. You must be the go-to person they want to buy from.
Let's pause quickly to appreciate those who sponsor this valuable episode. So far, you have learned all my favorite marketing and sales tools. Now, how can you bring all the data from your audience, leads, and clients together so you can serve them on a value ladder and for the long term? Even after multiple touchpoints with you, you want to remain on their mind for when they are ready to buy your service or product. I'm expanding my digital business, and I use ActiveCampaign as the centerpiece of all my services like email course, podcast, newsletter, show notes, website, sales page, merch shop, forms, whatever it is, as needed. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and ActiveCampaign offers so many integrations to all my other apps. I use it daily. If you want to create your own digital business with the various AI-driven lead magnets and funnel options, DM or email me, ActiveCampaign, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my ActiveCampaign link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode.
And then, step 4, conversion. And that is the action. And of course, here we have again 2 routes. The route engaged is the central route, but it's also influenced by peripheral cues for urgency. Okay? So here's the explanation why that works. This is where the decision is made and the person is ready to act. He engaged the central route by offering the finer, persuasive arguments and incentives, for example, the product bundle or the discounts. The peripheral route can also play a role in creating urgencies, such as a limited time offer or scarcity, only 5 left. These tactics tap into emotional triggers and can push the decision over the line. Your goal is to push the potential customer to take action. You want them to complete the purchase, to sign up. You can ask them to do that with a clear, compelling call to action while creating an emotional urgency because you have a countdown timer or a last chance discount that disappears. In summary, the elaboration likelihood model explains how persuasion works through either the central route, that is deep, thoughtful processing, or the peripheral route, which is superficial cues. And your sales funnel in the video podcast should use both routes at different stages. In the early stages, you focus more on the peripheral cues to capture attention, while the later stages engage the central route to foster deeper evaluation and motivate purchase decisions. By understanding this model, you can craft content that resonates with your potential customers at each stage of the sales funnel, leading them to take action. Before we now unveil our new gift, I want to wrap up, and here's what we have covered. So, number 1, we now understand what a sales funnel is and how it works for a video podcast. Number 2, you can now map your listener's journey from casual audience to paying customer. And then number 3, you now have content strategies and 2 recommendations, practical examples, and actionable steps to set up your own video podcast sales funnel. Now you know that the elaboration likelihood model underlines why you need a sales funnel for your business. So your challenge for this week is to map out your video podcast sales funnel, and you can create one piece of funnel-aligned content and track its performance.
Do you know who brings this valuable episode for free to you? To celebrate this season of the Creating Reorganized show, I want to offer you a business podcasting internship for 4 weeks. You can apply or join the waitlist for the next season for this treat by sharing why you want to do a business promotional podcast, what your services or products are. And if you and your business are in line with my own values, I will strategize, conduct, and produce with you your first 3 episodes. For the first one, I take the lead and you shadow me. For the second one, you do the work and I help you out. For the third one, you are on your own with me, cheering for you on the sidelines. For more details, see our application form as linked in the show notes.
All right, now it's time for your gift, dear Creating Reorganizers. So it's called Start Your Video Podcast with Creating Reorganized. As you all know, in real life, I'm a professor for industrial and occupational psychology. And in my lectures, I offer a student consulting project for my bachelor students. They must consult a real small business. Well, in the past, we really had trouble to find suitable projects. This is where you enter the stage, okay? So I want to help real small business owners like you, as you are listening to the Creating Reorganized show, to start a business promotional video podcast. And they, my students, want to consult. So maybe this is a win-win for all of us. As a project outcome, you, as a small business owner, would get a customized list of 10 episodes according to my Creating Reorganized strategy, plus 2 to 4 ready-to-be recorded video podcast scripts, depending on the group size of the students. So this gift is free for you, dear Creating Reorganizer, as you help my young bachelor students who don't really have a lot of practical experience, but they want to get their feet wet in the world of corporate consulting. And this is where I come into place because I have been an IT strategy consultant for Accenture, so I can guide them, but we need content, and that's where you enter the stage. So I thank you for helping my young students. We will give you a free customized list of 10 episode titles and a handful of ready-to-record scripts to start your own video podcast to promote your small business. To sign up, check out the link Start Your Video Podcast in our show notes. This is the first time that we offer this. To make this even more appealing to the German small business owners, we are offering this also in German. Thank you for joining us on our Creating Reorganized show. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your small business owner bestie who wants to turn their video podcast into a revenue generator. This is the final episode of our season 1 of the Creating Reorganized show. I hope that you have found a lot of value so that you can create your own video podcast. And now we have a season break because on May the 1st, we will start season 6 of our postdoc transformation show with 8 episodes. And then once we have ended this, I will start with the second season of the Creating Reorganized show. So stay tuned and watch us on the Postdoc Transformation Show, where we will do all the things Creating Reorganized.
Do you want to start your own side business as a runway for your better future? Then you will benefit from our free business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. Are you a small business owner and want to create sustainable marketing and sales content? Try video podcasting about your service or product, like I do in my postdoc transformation show. I'm a mom of 2 kids in school and a professor, and I have no time to lose running my business. And if you also want to save time and energy, use our Dovetail Evergreen strategy. You can easily derive countless valuable social media content from just one video podcast episode. You can quickly attract a broad audience across many social media platforms and then nurture them into leads and clients in their ears and emails while you live according to your vision of life. Let me teach you Creating Reorganized. If you're ready to dive in and start your own podcasting journey, I highly recommend checking out the tools I mentioned earlier: Podbean, Descript, Typeform, ActiveCampaign, Thinkific, and Metricool. Each of these services has made my podcasting business experience smoother and more efficient, and I trust that they can help you too. Thank you for listening to our Creating Reorganized show. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your business friends, and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Your feedback helps me as a small business owner to serve more small business owners for free, so thank you. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now I wish you a happy Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life.